Hi everybody, welcome to our second Cypher System video. I know that it has been a long time since I got to sit down and do one of these. I do apologize for the wait. You will not have to wait nearly as long for the rest of the starter course to finish. All the starter course is very brief rundowns of things that you'll find in your core rulebook or your rules primer packet. This content is meant to work with players who have access to either the handbook or the primer rules, and it doesn't work too well if you don't have either. I will not be showing snippets of the books in this video. Before we jump into the second video, I do want to talk about the rest of the starter course. There is one more main video for combat coming up next week. And then I have bonus videos planned to kind of round out the rest of the starter course. After the starter course is finished, I don't have plans for the Cypher System to continue, but we'll see how I'm feeling once everything is said and done. The video that you are going to watch today is about characters. The Cypher System has a very straightforward way of character creation. This video is going to take you through the brief explanation, but you can obviously find more in your player's handbook. Before we can dive into the fun stuff, we have to talk about the parts of a character. Your character is made of 3 parts and a sentence. The first part is called might, and might is how strong and or durable your character is. Might covers things like forcing a chest open, prying a door from its hinges, and it is the primary stat for determining how much damage your character can sustain. All that means is might determines how much damage your character can take. The next stat is called speed, and speed is everything from dexterity and dexterity related things to sneaking. There are a couple of other things that fall under the speed stat, and I encourage you to check your player's handbook to find out what those things are. If you're trying to build a character that is fast and or sneaky, they're going to need a good speed. The last stat is intellect, and intellect covers everything from wisdom to education and more. The ability your character has to solve puzzles and recall information is also going to fall under the intellect stat. When you create your Cypher System character, you are going to want to have this sentence on the screen in mind. I am an adjective, noun, who, verb. The adjective in this sentence is the descriptor for your character, the noun is your character type, and the verb is your character focus. A focus is what your character does best. The next thing is the components of the stats. Now, your stats are made up of technically 3 things, but there are 2 main components to your stats, and those 2 components are called the pool and edge. Your pool is your raw ability, and your edge is knowing how to use your abilities and what you have. The third component is called effort, and effort is used when you need to complete a task. You will apply effort to a task. So pool is a basic measurement of a stat. Most average characters have a pool of 9 to 12 for most of their stats. For game masters, you can use pools to determine what creatures you should be putting up against your party. When your character is injured, they will lose points in a pool. The nature of the attack is going to dictate what pool loses points. So, let's say your character is attacked by a short sword. This is physical damage, and that means you will be losing points from your might pool. If you took damage from a poison that's going to slow your character, this is going to result in a deduction from the speed pool. If you took damage from a psionic blast, that will reduce damage from your intellect pool. In a separate video, I will talk about how you can recover these missing points, but it is possible to do so. The next thing is called edge, and edge reduces the cost when you have to spend points in a pool. You can also use edge to reduce the cost of applying effort. So then what is effort? Effort requires spending 3 points from the stat pool appropriate to the action. If you want to perform an action that requires might, like forcing a door down, you will have to spend 3 might points of effort from your might pool. Effort will ease a task by 1 step. If the difficulty is 6, the effort will drop to 5, and this works for all difficulties. The game master should know the difficulty of a task before they give it to their party. To apply effort, subtract your relevant edge from the total cost of applying the effort. It's important to note that every character has an effort score. Your effort score will tell you the maximum number of effort that you can apply. So let's say you want to make a speed roll. First, apply 1 level of effort. This effort is going to ease the task by 1. So if the task normally costs 3 points from your speed pool, but you have a speed edge of 1, you can subtract that by 1. It is now only going to cost 2 points from your speed pool. So, to reiterate, let's say you have 3 points in your speed pool, but you have a speed edge of 1, you can subtract that 1 from the cost, and the cost will decrease to 2 points from your speed pool. You can also use effort to increase damage. Each level of effort used will apply 3 points of additional damage, so that damage is tacked on to the damage you were going to do at a base level. Let's say your character tosses out an explosive device. This is going to do an area of effect damage, and instead of applying 3 points of additional damage, you're going to want to apply 2 points of additional damage. All targets in the area will take 2 damage. However, if 1 or all of the targets resist, they will still take 1 point of damage. Explosion damage affects everything in the radius. So, skills and inabilities. When you are thinking about skills, you're going to think about 2 things. The first is your level of training. If your character is trained, that means you are reasonably skilled, and that means you can ease the step by 1. If you are specialized, you are very skilled, and that means you can ease by 2 steps. You can never ease past 2 steps. but you can use skill and effort together to reduce the cost. Regardless of how your character is trained, you can attempt a skill. If your character wants to climb, there is no harm in attempting to do so. However, if your character has an inability, you become hindered, and then it is best not to try and use that skill. Special abilities. As you're going through character creation, you are going to pick up these things called special abilities. They come from your character type and Foki. Your special abilities have a cost, and during the course of play, you can only reduce the cost once per action using Edge. As a side note, if you're looking at an ability from the handbook and it has a plus after the number, that means you can spend more points to improve the ability, and spending points does come from your effort. And that's it. That is the basic rundown of character creation in the Cypher system. I thank you for watching this video. The next one will be about combat, so stay tuned and have a good night, evening, or whatever.